MegaPodTastic.
Good morning, MegaPodlings. Krazy Joe here. Being a hardcore Star Trek fan, as many of you know I am watching Star Trek Picard right now, which is at the midway point of the season. There are 5 episodes into a 10-episode season. And I've really been enjoying Star Trek Discovery, which is on hiatus right now, but we'll be back sometime this year for its 3rd season. I thought the first 2 seasons were excellent. But I'm a member, as a hardcore Star Trek fan, I'm a member of a lot of Star Trek Facebook groups, and I see a lot of opinions, varied opinions, on the quality of the new Star Trek shows. I know people hate them. I know people love them. I know one of my regular viewers, one of my Patreon patrons, Nigel Blackwood, he goes by. He's not a fan at all. And I understand his criticisms, and I hear a lot of the criticisms, and it's all fair. These things are subjective. But my concern of where we are right now with Star Trek, and it's not just Star Trek. I mean, this could go for many, many fandoms. Like I know Star Wars, the fandom of Star Wars has been quite turbulent as well. But what I fear right now is that we've reached a place of no compromise. We've reached a place of no middle ground. There are, and I always blame these guys, and I think I'm justified in blaming these guys. I think they deserve the blame, quite frankly. But there's guys out there on YouTube, guys and girls on YouTube, who make a living just tearing down all these franchises we love. There's a bunch of channels, and they take these new Star Trek shows like Discovery and Picard, and even the movies that J.J. Abrams, the 2 J.J. Abrams made, the one Justin Lin made, and they tell you nonstop how horrible they are. How horrible. And they've made a lot of money off it. I always say they're clickbait channels, and they are, because they make up things that aren't true. To say I don't care for this, say I don't like this, I don't think this show is very good, that's an opinion, that's subjective. That's all there is to it. That's subjective. But when you keep putting out so-called facts and rumors that everyone knows aren't even remotely true, just to get people to check out your channel, that becomes something different altogether. That's clickbait. And these channels will always do that. Oh, Discovery's being canceled. Oh, CBS is very upset about Discovery. Oh my gosh. The budget on Discovery has been pulled. Oh my God. Licensees don't want Picard. They don't want it, and it's led to massive delays. None of this stuff was true. Absolutely none of this was true. But this got reported on those channels. And what it's done is fracture the fan base. Because I believe in other times we could have differences of opinion without tearing each other apart. Good example. You could love Star Trek the original series. You could be a hardcore fan of Star Trek the original series. And you could say, I love Star Trek the original series. But you know what? Spock's brain wasn't very good. And that was fine. That was fine. Nobody was going to beat you up for it. You might get someone who says, hey, I like Spock's brain. I think Spock's brain's pretty good. But it was understood that you like Star Trek the original series, but you don't like this episode of Star Trek the original series. You could say, I love the Star Trek original series, but I don't like Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. And nobody was going to beat you up on that, because it wasn't like you were saying, I don't like any of this. You're saying, no, I like this. I just don't like this one. Well, we've reached a point with Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard, 2 shows that I have been watching and enjoying. I've been enjoying Discovery more than Picard. I think Picard's been a little slow. They're at the midway point of the season, and I don't really know that they've really gotten their mission going yet. Like, I feel like on episode 4, they were still putting their team together. If you're at the midway point of the season and you're still putting your team together, you got to pick up the pace a little. So Picard, I don't dislike the show. I think it's pretty good. But I think when you compare Picard to Discovery, Picard's definitely the weaker show. Discovery's got better storytelling, whereas Picard just kind of seems to be spinning its wheels a little bit. I don't know. We got to see the end game, see where it's going to end up. But generally speaking, I like them both. Well, the problem I'm seeing is that a lot of times, if you see something you don't like on an episode of Discovery, for example, I didn't think the second season finale was very good. I liked season 1, loved season 1. I liked season 2, but then the finale came, and I didn't feel it stuck the landing. I thought like all of season 2 was strong except the finale. So that was something about Discovery, a show I'm a huge fan of, that I didn't like. Both Picard and Discovery have used the F word, which we won't use on this channel. I like to keep this channel PG. But it's obviously a very, very divisive word. It's usually only used in R-rating movies. I know they say sometimes you can get away with 1 in a PG-13, but generally speaking, you only hear it in R-rated movies. It's not a word that has generally been widely accepted by mass audiences. That is weakening. Like, we're hearing it on TV now. Like, I can see it on an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia now, which is a cable show that airs after 10. But there was a time when you couldn't even hear that. Like, you would have to go to a movie or maybe HBO. So it's definitely a divisive word. And it's suddenly showing up on Star Trek, on episodes of Picard, on episodes of Discovery, and I feel it's very out of place. It doesn't feel like it fits to me. So I go to these Facebook groups, and you mention that there's some aspect of the show, whether it be the profanity, whether it be, I didn't think this episode was very well written, whatever. If you say you don't like something about these shows, I find people dig into you. People come in and really take their knives out and come to tear you apart. Like, how dare you criticize our show? How dare you say something negative about Picard? How dare you say something negative about Discovery? And it's never been like that before, because you could watch The Next Generation and say, I love Star Trek The Next Generation. Star Trek The Next Generation is so good, but my God, Code of Honor was a horrible episode. And that was fine. It was accepted. You like the show. You don't like this episode. You don't like this aspect. And now it seems like the current mentality is, if you say one negative thing about Discovery or one negative thing about Picard, people get pissed. Super pissed. I've had people tell me, because I said I didn't think the profanity fit and the profanity shouldn't be there. I've had people tell me, well, if you don't like the show, then don't watch it. It's like, when did I say I don't like the show? I enjoy the show. I like the show a lot. I'm telling you, I don't like this aspect of the show. And have you watched every episode of Next Generation and found every single moment of every single episode, all 178 episodes of Next Generation, you found it all to be perfect? All of it? You found not a single flaw in 178 episodes? You found not a single flaw in 80 episodes of the original series? Come on. Come on. And why is that? Why is it that with Picard and Discovery, we're not allowed, in some fan circles, to offer even a modicum of criticism? And I think it goes back to all these trolls, many of whom are on YouTube, who just want to tear these shows down. Tear them down, tear them down, tear them down. To the point where there's one guy, he has a big long beard. He's on YouTube. I'm not going to name his name because he's a garbage human being. But he actually calls people who like these new shows Drekkies. Dreckies, okay? So he's got an insulting nickname for any Star Trek fan who dares to like these new shows. If you think different than him, you're beneath him. You're not a real fan. You're not actually a real Star Trek fan because you like something he does not like. And he is smarter than you, and he knows better than you. And you, how dare you like that and try to say it's Star Trek? It is not Star Trek, and you're not a real fan if you like it. So this is the attitude we're seeing a lot of on the one side, which is, don't you dare like this thing. You're garbage if you like it. And I think that has made a lot of fans overprotective of these shows that I like, these shows that I enjoy, these shows that I watch every week. I look forward to Thursday nights for my new Picard. It's a big thing with my wife and I. We make popcorn. We get together on the couch. It's almost like our date night. Popcorn and Picard. We got kids. We don't get out that much. Popcorn and Picard is like the big thing in our week. We love the show. We love the show. Doesn't mean we're not going to have any criticisms about it. And the fact that a lot of fans tear you down for having even the tiniest criticism, I do think comes from these online bullies who want to tear down anyone who dares to say they like the show. I think it's created this attitude of us against them. Us against them. You're either with us or you're against us. You're either one of the trolls who hates these shows and tears down everyone who likes them, or you're standing on our side. You're firmly here, and you're defending these shows, and you better not say anything negative, because if you say something negative, you're one of those guys. One of those guys who calls Discovery STD to be insulting, like those guys. They want to tear us down, and we need to be united. We need to be completely and totally united in our undying support of these shows, because if we aren't, and that's what it's turned into. And it's ridiculous because it wasn't like that with the original. It wasn't like that with The Next Generation. It wasn't like that with Deep Space Nine. You could like the show, you could be a fan of the show, and still say, I don't like some aspect of it. So that bothers me because I like Discovery and I like Picard. I love Discovery. Discovery, I think, is one of the best Star Trek spinoffs. I think it's one of the best. I think it has the potential. My favorite Star Trek of all time is Deep Space Nine, followed by the original. Discovery is like neck and neck with The Next Generation for third place. And I think when they got more episodes under their belt, they might be my third favorite. They're on their way to being my third favorite. So I really like that show. And I'm digging Picard. Not as much as Discovery, but I'm digging Picard. So these are shows that I like, but no, I don't think they're perfect. I do think that there is room for improvement on both shows. Doesn't mean I'm not a fan. Doesn't mean I don't like these shows. Doesn't mean I don't love these shows. But we got to stop being so overprotective of these two shows. That anyone who dares to criticize, we're going to throw them under the bus or act like, well, you're not a real fan base. You don't belong here. You don't belong talking about these shows as a fan. If you dare to say there's room for improvement anywhere, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And you get out with your negative comments. It hadn't been like that before. And if you're like that, if you're one of those people who is on a Facebook group and is going to criticize someone because they say they don't like the profanity on Picard, or they don't like they didn't like the finale of Discovery. If that's you, ask yourself this: did you love all 178 episodes of The Next Generation? Was there never an episode of The Next Generation that you said, I think that one was weak? Was there never an episode of the original series that you said, I don't care for that one? Do you like all of the other shows? Because personally, the only Star Trek show that I've ever struggled with is Voyager, which I've eventually come to have more of an appreciation than I did originally. I originally hated it, but now I appreciate it more than I ever did today. But I know people who say, well, I don't like Deep Space Nine. I can never get into Deep Space Nine. I know people who say, I don't like Enterprise. So it's not unusual that people have something something within this fan base that they don't fully get on board with. And we got to be okay with that. We got to embrace IDIC, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. It's what it's what Star Trek's about. Star Trek's about this inclusiveness, and we shouldn't be tearing. We've already got the guys, like the guys on YouTube and the negative forces who just want to tear into us because they don't like what we like. Which, and by the way, I'm fine if you don't like it. You just shouldn't be bullying people about it. You shouldn't be calling people names. You shouldn't be saying you're less of a fan because you like the thing I don't like. That's where my issue comes in. You don't have to like what I like. Just don't insult me for liking it. I'm not going to insult you for not liking it. I'm not going to insult you if you do like something else that I don't like. It's all subjective. But we can't overcompensate. We can't overcompensate and just say, well, because those guys are doing that, now we're going to tear people apart too. No, we gotta stick together, because we've got enough people coming after us and calling us names like Dreckies, So why do it to ourselves? This was a bit of a rant. I apologize for the length of this rant, but I got a little tired of it. I'm getting a little tired of it. I'm getting a little tired of the thin skin on some of the Star Trek fans of like, our show is above criticism. And I do think it becomes from the fact that it's being torn down by so many people that people have become overprotective. In any event, what do you think? And it applies to any franchise, not just Star Trek. You can do it with Star Wars too. I mean, it doesn't matter. And any franchise, it's just, you can like a thing, but just because you like a thing doesn't mean the thing's perfect. It doesn't mean it's above criticism. Keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander adamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.